All right, we're looking at a 12-bar blues in the key of E, and what we want to do today is build some lines over chords. The three chords that we're using in the key of E blues are E7, A7, and B7. But when we just use the barred form of E, we can do the same thing. E7, A7, fret 5, B7, fret 7, and that's what we're going to do today for reasons that will soon become clear. All right, so the top two notes of each of those chords are, in the case of the E chord, E and B, or the root and the 5. And then when we move to the 4 chord, back to root, 5 chord, 4, and 1. So you get the idea. So it's just like doing power chords. You get the idea. Okay. Now, to make that a little bit more interesting sounding, which would probably be a really good idea, we're going to add a couple of notes, and the first note that we're going to add is the flat 3. Now, the flat 3 can be played, is played against the major third in the chord. That's what makes it sound bluesy. So that flat 3 is a G. But in the chord of E7, we have a G sharp. All right, and the same is going to hold true for each of the chords. C sharp in the A chord, but the flat 3 is the C, natural. And the same thing holds true for the B chord with our D sharp, but we're playing a D on top, D natural. So it's called a flat 3 or a minor 3 if you want. So what makes that sound bluesy is you're playing a minor third against a major third, or minor against major. Okay, let's build a little line and follow the chords. Right, I'm going to just move that line. Back to the 1 chord. Up to the 5. And then the 5 chord. And we're through our 12 bar. So the count is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 3, 4, 4, 3, 4, and so on. So that phrase basically is just a single measure phrase. So you would play that phrase on each of its chords 12 times through a 12 bar blues. And what you're doing is you're following the chords of the key. And with that in mind, you can also take your E7 chord, move it, think of it being up an octave, and play the same line up here at the 12th fret. Naturally, there are lots of different ways to phrase this. I just came up with this phrase out of nowhere, but I mean there's phrase any way you like. I'm adding another note there. Whatever works for you, right? The main thing is that you're getting the sound of that flat 3 in your thinking, that flat 3 against the major 3. And the other thing you're doing is you're taking a line and you're expressing that line over each and every chord. So you're not thinking in terms of a scale, right? But you're thinking in terms of the chord instead. Now that could eventually express itself in a scale, and we'll move in that direction. But for now, what you're doing is you're just playing the root and the 5 of each of the chords, right? And adding that flat 3. And moving that flat 3 through a 12 bar blues. This is the way to start building lines, one step at a time. Don't try to build really long, difficult lines that are technically too difficult. Keep the line simple so that you can hear the line. You can hear what makes the line sound the way it does, and pull those lines out of your own imagination. Not to say that it's not a good idea to listen to other players, but you'll find that by doing this, the other players you listen to are always using the same, the same notes. But they just phrase them in different ways. So for today, just take your 1 chord, 5. Think of them as moving around like that. Take your 5ths and add that flat 3. And there's another phrase. And work that around the fretboard and expressing those chords of the 12 bar blues in the key of E.